incredible thing is that we see even Cox boats run into trouble on this course, but what I'm continually amazed about is the level of these guys, the junior men's quads in the Fawley. They're so young, yet they're so mature and so composed in the way that they race. We have Leander Club on the left, the Windsor Boys School here on the right in the Fawley Challenge Cup.
Two top junior schools here. Leander, 6 in the championship quads at Marlow, silver at the national schools, and Windsor on the right were the gold at the national schools. So these guys have formed, but it's Leander's home water, and that's important. You know, Henley is an odd distance. It's 2,112 metres long, not 2,000 standard international distance. It's not marked out in 250-metre marks. So if you're not familiar with the course, it's a bit harder to tell where you are. Leander, they should have the home advantage. They're a little bit close to the booms at this stage, not on the ideal line. That will cost them a little bit of distance. But this looks like it's going to be set to be a tough race from the start. These two rivals, first and second at the National Schools Regatta recently. Let's see how it unfolds here today.
It's amazing, some of these matchups that we've seen in the semi-finals, things that you'd be expecting to see in the finals. So just to get through to tomorrow's final is such a feat. But wow, look at this move coming here from Leander. They've had a really aggressive start and they're really looking to carry that speed out for just a little bit longer. We had a discussion this morning on air about in match racing some of the different tactics that apply, and it is such a head game racing in an event like this with just one opponent.
Absolutely right, and of course you've got that gamble. If you think you might not be the stronger crew, maybe you should go off really hard and try to rattle your opponents and get ahead. What we see here is Leander on the far side with their distinctive pink oars. They're the slightly heavier crew at 84 kilos on average compared with 79 on this size to Windsor Boys. Windsor Boys, I say, look like they're sculling a very efficient style. Leander, a bit more power, and that's what's counting for them at this point in the race. Early still.
Yeah, amazing strength there from the Leander crew. And like I said a little earlier, I'm continually amazed at the standard of both the junior men's and the women's quads here at Henley. And look at this Windsor Boys crew. I mean, they're obviously sitting about a length down off Leander, but really, really composed. They're staying nicely together, sitting up tall and strong. They're staying long, rowing really well together at this stage. And I think they'll be in good shape by the time they get down to the end of the course. They look quite efficient in what they're doing, so a little adjustment there to their steering just to ensure they stay on their station. But I think this will serve them well as they head down the course, and it might just be a power battle here between the two crews.
I mean, I think you posed the question well, Sarah. The Windsor Boys crew here in green on the left of our picture, they look like they've taken a steadier start and maybe conserving power for later in the race. Maybe that's the way that they've adopted the tactic. And Leander have really taken the race to them, going off very, very aggressively, very hard. A higher rate of striking, that's strokes per minute. Putting the same strokes per minute down at the same power, you'll go the same speed generally, but more strokes per minute at the same power, and they've got a bit more weight behind them. They got off faster, and they still have an advantage as they come towards the midpoint of this race.
Yeah, you can really see the power that Leander are throwing down here. There's quite a lot of up and down movement in their boat, so you can tell these are big, strong boys who are really just pumping this boat along. I mean, they look very, very good. But I think that, you know, what the Windsor Boys are doing, it's looking quite nice. It's nice and smooth as they're just the bows surging along there. But here we can see the Leander crew a little closer here on screen. I mean, there's nothing wrong with what they're doing here. Very powerful.
Yeah, and both sculling extremely well for juniors, that's 18 and under. Less experience than some of the senior crews we've seen, but some of that discipline. Look at how parallel those oars are. Very quick pick-up, quick catch from the under crews. The blades just go into the water nice and early, trying to drive it through, and a push to the second half of the stroke, really accelerating. You can see the boat lifting and falling as that power comes through. 84 kilos times 4 athletes sliding up and down a metre means the boat does move up and down a bit. You want to minimise that. Like in sailing, flat is fast, they say.
I tell you what, being from Australia and seeing the standard of both the Diamond Jubilee and the Fawley here, the two junior quad events, I'm a little bit fearful about what we're going to see coming out of Britain in the next few years, because this is an incredible race here in the semi-final. The Leander Club here on screen, Tom Ballinger, Cameron Forsyth, Matthew Peters and Robert Crowther.
Well, let's look, though, because we've got the Windsor Boys, as we thought they might. You called it, Sarah. They might come back having had a bit of a more efficient first part of the race, and they are now encroaching on Leander's lead, stroke by stroke, leaning back on it. That really distinctive style there from the strokeman, Bryn Ellery. Only 17 years old, 83 kilos, but a very tall 191 centimetres. You can see his head over the rest of them. I love this shot, by the way. You can really see how well these guys are in sequence here.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about a little earlier. We saw that there was a lot of up and down movement in that Leander crew with the power they were throwing down, but just the smoothness with which this hull underneath the Windsor Boys School is running, and now they're starting to get back onto level with the Leander crew. They're probably only about a seat down at this stage. I think that smoothness and that efficiency that they're showing is really going to start to come into its own through this middle section of the race.
So Tom Sherwell at bow and Isaac Workman at 2, the two athletes closest to us in the green Windsor Boys School boat. They will now feel and see out of the corners of their eye the stern of the Leander boat, and they'll feel that they're moving back every stroke, and that means they're probably going to be calling to their crewmates, we're moving, we're moving. The confidence level will increase, the adrenaline will increase, the power will increase. Meanwhile, Leander have got the reverse effect. They can see these guys they thought they'd broken them, they're coming back, and they're coming back now. Look at that. Really close racing as they come down the enclosures, packed enclosures now to see these guys from Windsor Boys School racing the Leander Club. Two great junior sculling crews here at Henley Regatta in the Fawley Cup. And, well, I think the Windsor boys are trying to move to level. They've been sticking about this distance for the last 100 or so metres. What do you think, Sarah?
Look, this is an incredible race here. Both crews no doubt getting energised by the crowd, but it looks to me like Leander have put on just a little burst here. I think that they're starting to get their bow just a little ahead of Windsor Boys. Man, this is all going to come down to the last few hundred metres.
Yeah, Windsor Boys have stuck at this distance. They have about a canvas, that's the white section of the boat at the front there, about a canvas down now, and they've still got about 200 metres to go. The roar of the crowd's going to lift them. Obviously both popular pre-local schools here, so they won't to be able to tell who's cheering for who, but the noise is starting to rise and rise as the crowds along the banks here see an extremely close race.
And the rates going up in the Windsor Boys School. We saw a little look across from the two men in the belt, Ballinger and Forsyth. Here they go.
They're moving and they're moving and they're moving. Look at that determination on Bryn Ellery's face in the stroke seat there. It's hard to call. It's going to be down to who puts the most strokes in between here and the finishing line. They've got about 10 metres to go. And, I'd say that's Windsor Boys School by about a foot. Would you say that? Maybe
got it on the surge there. I think it was the Windsor Boys School.
What an epic race for these young athletes here.
Wow.
See the pain, I mean, really taken to the brink there. It's so demoralising to have a crew come back at you like that, and exhausting too. The camera here, yeah, just past the finish line, so it's a little bit hard to see, but I think that would be a Windsor Boys School victory. Let's wait for the official verdict.
Incredibly close there. But what is incredible above anything else is how well these boys are rowing. I mean, they are absolutely fatigued. They're sprinting to the line, and their composure and their togetherness and their skill it's astounding.
You're absolutely right. There's real maturity on those young 18-year-old heads there, isn't there, to see, and 17 in the case of a couple of the athletes, to see them be able to respond and keep their cool under so much pressure in both boats. Actually really impressive. I don't hear an official result at this point, but I think we'd be giving it to Windsor Boys School at this stage.
Still waiting on an official announcement. Here we are, the Windsor Boys School, we think, has beaten Leander Club. What a race. Two incredibly tight races, the first two races of the afternoon.
Welcome to semi-finals at Henley Royal Regatta.
Amazing.